to Birdy Boyz Podcast, episode 4. I'll be the host today. I am here with Alan.
Yo.
Caleb.
What's up?
And Miles.
Hello.
I'm Raleigh, and today we will be discussing first an intro question, and then tier lists that we all created. Also, we're working on getting our podcast onto Spotify and SoundCloud as well. When we do get them on, we're going to try to be more descriptive of everything that goes on in the episode, since we can't put stuff up on the screen. So if we get episodes 1 through 3 up on SoundCloud and Spotify, just be mindful of the fact that those were meant for YouTube, and we weren't describing things as well. So today's discussion question is, what is your favorite movie and why?
Raleigh, why don't you start to kind of get us going,
Okay. Personally, my favorite movie is The Truman Show. I mean, it's a great movie. It's a amazing idea, and the plot is great. And honestly, it's just like a lighthearted, fun movie that's enjoyable. Caleb, what's your favorite?
My favorite movie kind of changes, but as of right now, it's probably Jojo Rabbit. I saw it on a plane, and normally plane movies are kind of because the viewing experience is, not exactly ideal. But I think the movie made up for that. It was hilarious. A lot of movies don't actually have me laughing out loud, but that one definitely did.
Nice.
Okay, I'll go next. I've seen Jojo Rabbit. I would agree. It's a very good movie. I'd say right now my favorite movie is probably Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou. It has a really good soundtrack, and the director uses kind of a lot of the same actors in multiple movies, and I really like the way that they play the characters. Yeah, okay.
My favorite movie, like Caleb, it also does change a lot. I think right now, my favorite movie is probably Parasite, another movie that came out last year. I really loved the way it was directed and acted, and it was really funny at the first part, and then it took a really big turn. It was just a good movie all around.
Yeah, I need to watch that still.
Yeah, I would recommend it to anybody. It was amazing.
Okay, cool. Okay, so now we're going to move on to our tier lists. Me, Caleb, and Alan all created tier lists based off of various things, and I'll let them explain their own. Caleb, would you like to go first?
So mine is world leaders I could beat in a fight. It's a tier list. I basically based it off of a number of factors. Their presumed fighting ability, their intimidation factor, their size, because that does have a big impact in a fight. Previous military or sports experience. Basically, I wrapped that all together and made it into a tier list. So, starting out with D tier is Queen Elizabeth, because she's absolutely weak. I could clap her with one punch. I wouldn't even need to punch her. I would just blow on her, and she would fall over and die. She's 150 years old. And then next is Pope Francis. It's the same kind of thing. He's old. He probably wouldn't even fight back.
I don't know. Personally, I can see Pope Francis jumping from the top ropes and just absolutely going ham on someone.
I cannot.
And I mean, he'd be less prone to violence, right? So I think you could.
I definitely do as well. That's why he's D tier. The last one in D tier is the president of China. I think it's Xi Jinping, if I'm pronouncing it correctly.
Sorry, what was his name, Caleb?
I would rock him.
Caleb, you said Winnie the Pooh wrong.
Oh, you right. This man has not fought or played a sport a day in his life. You can tell just by looking at his face. He has a cushy life, and he would get rocked. Next,
we're gonna get banned in China.
China's gonna ban our podcast.
We're moving into C tier, where we have the president of Argentina, whose name is Alberto. I don't remember his last name. He looks like he still has a bit of spunk in him for an old dude, which is why I put him in C. Uh, but all the same, he would get clapped. He's old. I could pull up on him any day. Next we have the Chancellor of Germany, and she seems like, I don't know. I looked into it. She's a bit athletic, but I think she would still go down, and she would still go down fairly easily, putting her in C tier. Last we have the president of Mexico. I mean that one is basically the same as the Argentinian president. He looks like he's like sort of, got some fight left in him for an old dude, but I could still take him down. Next,
Gotcha.
moving into B tier, we've got Donald Trump. Now, Donald Trump, I feel like he could put up a bit of a fight. Like he could, throw some punches, but I feel like I could still take him down. There's a big like size difference between me and him,
Yeah.
which could make the
Yeah.
fight more difficult.
Donald
But-
Trump is really tall.
Yeah, he's like 6'1" or something. But I would just aim for the legs, sweep him, get him on the ground, and just start going ham.
Well, you know
Now moving on. Next, we have Emmanuel Macron, who is the president of France. And this dude's like, I think he's pretty athletic. He like runs and stuff. I think he would put up a pretty good fight. He's in B tier. Next, we have the president of Israel. I forgot his name. Originally, I was gonna put him like in C tier, but then I remembered that every single person in Israel serves in the army and gets like hand-to-hand combat training, and he isn't really as old as he looks. Because when I first looked him up, some of the first pictures made him look very old. But I looked it up. He's not that old, and he was in the army, so I put him in B tier just to be safe. And last in B tier, we have Vladimir Putin, who I don't know if you guys have seen it, but I've seen the picture of him like riding a bear, which is kind of intimidating.
I had a Russian friend, right, and his mom was like Russian, and I think he went to Russia one year, and he got me like this Vladimir Putin calendar, and there was this picture of him like riding horseback, and he had no shirt on, and like he's packing more than you'd like presume. You know what I mean? Like there was definitely like
Yeah, and he's not that old. He's younger than Trump, and he's
also
pretty
shorter
tall.
than Trump.
Well, he's shorter than
thinner
Trump.
than Trump.
That's
And
true,
I
but
feel like he's about the same level as Trump.
I don't
Maybe
know.
if I
I
had
think
like
he's
a B
higher.
plus, maybe if I had a B plus, I would put him there. But you'll see when we get to S and A, he does not belong there. The people
Okay.
in S and
he's
A
pretty
tier.
stocky, but I
are,
imagine
like-
he's pretty slow.
All right, so moving into A tier, we've got this dude. I think he's the president of Greenland. Yeah, either Greenland or Iceland. And this dude, he looks like a Minecraft character. His head looks like a block, and his jaw is like so square and thick. Like I could imagine punching it and him just like standing there taking it. He looks so intimidating, and his eyes are like sunk into his skull. Like I don't know what is up with this dude. I don't know why they elected him. But yeah, I feel like he would whoop my ass.
Oh yeah, he's the prime minister of Greenland.
Oh yeah. Next in A tier, we've got the president of Canada. And this dude, I've seen like pictures of him doing marathons, pictures of him doing like a planche. I don't know if you guys know what that is, on a table, which is where you hold up your entire body weight on like both your arms, but it's not like a handstand. Like your body is kind of like parallel to the ground, and it takes insane core and upper body strength. And this dude just casually does it. And I think he was rated like one of the most fit world leaders of all time. I think I would get rocked by him. I feel like I feel like he could
Yeah.
definitely whoop my ass.
I could see
And
that.
then lastly in S tier, this dude is the president of Mongolia. I don't know if you've looked up pictures of him, but I have. I did my research on most of these. And I saw shirtless pictures of him in the gym with his butts. This dude is so insanely ripped. He would just like flex on me and I would die. Like I wanna pull up a picture, but I know that if we
What? I just looked it up.
yeah
Oh
yeah
my god, dude.
if we put
He's
this on like Spotify and
crazy.
Wait,
SoundCloud, we won't be
leader
able
of
to
what
have
country?
pictures on it of
President of
Mongolia.
Mongolia.
Yeah, look it up. Look up President of Mongolia. Click on pictures. You'll find some shirtless ones. This dude is jacked.
Oh
This
Jesus!
dude is insane.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
dude.
he
That's
knocked
why
me.
he's the only one in S tier.
He
No
would
one
lay
else
me
compares to
flat on my
him.
back. Interesting.
Okay. I noticed there are a few people missing from this list, like some noticeable people. And I know you haven't done your research, but just based on like what you've heard about them, where would you put Kim Jong-un and Boris Johnson?
Bojo would probably be in C tier. He just, I don't know. He seems like kind of stupid and large, kind of like a cave troll that you could just kind of push over. And I don't know. I don't live in Britain. I don't know if that's true. I'm just talking about purely from what I've seen and what I've heard. And then Kim Jong-un, I think he would be in D tier. It's the same kind of thing with my boy Z in China. Like, he's just never fought a day in his life. He may be commander-in-chief of the army, but he's not packing.
That makes sense. That makes
All
sense. I
right.
think that's good judgment.
Okay, so next we're going to move on to my tier list. Now, I did fast food restaurants if they were your zombie apocalypse shelter. Now, I thought of this along the lines of like a 2-week period, because you're not going to pick a fast food restaurant realistically in the zombie apocalypse for like maybe more than a short amount of time. So I thought 2 weeks. And I also thought about how the structure of their buildings usually look and their food, like if you're surviving off of their food.
So you would be surviving only off their food for 2 weeks.
Exactly. All right. So, and I did a F minus, F tier, a D tier, C, B, A, S, and an S plus. Those are like the boss level ones. All right. So down here in F minus, we've got Long John Silver's and Taco Bell. If I had to live off Long John Silver's or Taco Bell for 2 weeks, that would be devastating. I would not survive.
Long John Silver's is pretty horrible, I'd say.
Yeah.
I'd say unless you're eating seafood that's like really fresh, I don't think it's really worthwhile. I think that'd be really kind of gross. I've had a fish sandwich, which I thought was somewhat decent.
Moving on to the F tier, we've got Dairy Queen, Sonic, and Subway. So for Sonic, the reason that I put it so low is that when I think of the buildings, they're usually like barely even a building. Like you haven't got much of a place to stay inside. It's mostly that outside area where you can drive up and get your food. So, not much structure, not very safe. For the Subway, I would also die if I had to eat Subway for 2 weeks straight.
So I don't like Subway either. I think it's kind of a bit lazy, in my opinion. Because you could just make a sandwich and it'd be better than Subway. But if you have to survive off their food for 2 weeks and you're kind of just staying in the building, you need to think about how you're not going to really be going outside much, so you're not going to be exercising. So Subway is probably the healthiest option on this list, besides maybe like Chick-fil-A. So you're not going to get fat if you just eat Subway for 2 weeks and like stay in the restaurant.
Well, I mean, look at Jared from Subway.
Okay, well, Jared's a different story. But I feel like out of all these restaurants, Subway's probably the healthiest, and if you're not getting much exercise, it might be the best option. So I would put it, I don't know, I'd put it somewhere in like maybe B tier, A tier. But you're right, the food is garbage.
Okay, I could see it bumping up to I think personally I could bump it up to C tier, but no more than that. Just because I would absolutely be my butt would be devastated after 2 weeks. And moving on to D tier, we've got Popeyes. Personally, I love their food. It's great. However, it's not going to be great to stay there for 2 weeks, living off of their food. And I think their buildings differ based on where you go, but they're not usually that big and they don't seem that safe, you know?
Yeah, I'd say the building is about average, but the food is like greasy Cajun food, like fast food, which I feel like that would just be disgusting to eat for
Once
2
you-
weeks straight.
All right, moving on to the C tier. We've got McDonald's, Zaxby's, Wendy's, and KFC. Now, I know Zaxby's is very regional. I think it's mostly only in the South. It's another chicken restaurant, like fast food, fried chicken type place. I would be okay with it. I mean, they've got like salads and stuff there. So, I'd be okay with Zaxby's. McDonald's, I only put that so high because I feel like their building structures tend to be maybe a little bit above average. Wendy's and KFC, I feel like, are also both just kind of, I don't know if I would want to live off of them for 2 weeks or, trust the place that much. Yeah, so moving on to the B tier, we've got Dunkin' Donuts and Jimmy John's. I feel like here's where we start getting B and above, I feel like, is the places that I feel like I could handle if I had to stay there for 2 weeks maybe. Dunkin' Donuts, their food's not the best. They're like, I mean, it's cool to eat it once in a while. But I was just thinking along the more at the moment I was tired when I was making this. So when I was thinking about it, I wanted coffee. And that's the only reason I put Dunkin' Donuts so high.
Yeah, I think it belongs lower, just personally.
Yeah, I can see that. That makes sense.
Well, also, I mean, I think Dunkin' Donuts probably like primarily banks off of like sugar and carbs, which I think like I don't think that would really give you much of a, because I think you'd crash on that kind of food instead of maintaining any sort of. I mean, I know they serve other stuff, but I mean that's just primarily what they do. So I don't think that you'd be very like well set nutritionally.
That's
Yeah.
kind of like the opposite of what I was saying about Subway. Like,
Right,
you-
yeah. Because
hate
I mean,
that.
you think about it, and you think about all like the what you can put on the sandwiches, and there's a lot of like variation. So
Okay, I'll agree with that. I can see myself moving down Dunkin' Donuts to maybe D tier. No, F tier, actually. It wouldn't be that great. And then Jimmy John's also in B tier. I feel like Jimmy John's is like, in my opinion, the better Subway. It's also still not like a fantastic place. It's still like a lazy, like you can make your own sandwich at home type of thing. However, I feel like I trust Jimmy John's a little bit more than Subway's
Mhm.
in my experience. Moving on to A tier, we've got Chick-fil-A and Chipotle. Chick-fil-A, yeah, it's like the healthiest, I think, of all of the like fast food chicken options, kind of. And they offer some other stuff like, salads and whatnot. I think I put it a little bit lower, though, just because I don't know if I trust all the buildings that much. I feel like a lot of them are very like windows, like a lot of the walls are made out of windows,
Yeah, I agree with the building aspect, but with the food aspect, I would pay you to let me eat Chick-fil-A for 2 weeks. Like, I love their food. I love their food.
I would.
That's
So
fair.
I think
Yeah.
it deserves to be bumped up.
I don't know, because like the way I'm thinking, I would just gorge myself. Their food is so good.
That's another thing. I love their food, but I don't know if I could trust myself being, with their food for 2 weeks. I feel like that would end up bad. And Chipotle, I also put that one high just because they've got a lot of healthy options, like what you were saying, like with Subway and stuff. Like they've got some healthy stuff to,
Mm-hmm.
buy
yeah, I
you
think
time
Chipotle
with.
is justified with that spot.
Yeah. Up in S tier, I have Five Guys. Now, this one, some people I think would say maybe a little bit lower, but personally, I think that would be. I love their food. I love Five Guys food, and I think I would like to be at a Five Guys maybe for 2 weeks. Like if it was in a zombie apocalypse, I think I'd be okay with staying there for 2 weeks. And moving on to the big boss restaurants, you've got in the S plus tier, you've got Panera and Panda Express. Those places just, easily, I think, by miles, take it for me. I feel like both of these are just fantastic restaurants. Panda Express is a Chinese restaurant that is fast food. However, they have very healthy fast food options. Whenever I eat there, I'm surprised by how healthy or how much healthier it is compared to other fast food restaurants.
I very much beg to differ on the
Yeah.
placement of Panda Express.
Oh, no.
My
Sorry.
main argument is that my sister worked there, and that food, the way they make it and the food itself, is actually disgusting.
My thing with Panda Express is, yes, it's healthier than other fast food restaurants, but that really depends on what you're eating. When I go to Panda
Yeah,
Express,
that's true.
I get rice, or I get orange chicken, the side of rice, and a vegetable side. But the vegetable side is usually pretty small, so I'm not eating a super healthy meal when I go there.
Well, keep in mind, it's you won't be ordering a proportion.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's
You're
true.
just
That's
kinda
true.
behind the
Which is,
counter.
And then the other restaurant, the last one in S plus, is Panera. I feel like by far that's the best one here. Even over Panda Express. Maybe Panda Express has moved down to S tier. I feel like of all of these options here, Panera would be the best.
facts. I agree.
I don't know if you've all been to Panera. It's all it's like a bakery type restaurant, but
Yeah, I mean, they got soups and stuff too.
Is it a local chain, or is it I don't know, actually.
I think it's
sure.
a national chain. I don't think
Okay.
it's just
That would make
local-
sense. But they just
Yeah.
have quality food. It's not even really fast food. It doesn't taste like fast food.
Yeah, I was using just a ranking fast food
Well, there
tier
was,
list, a
There
premium.
was that video that was leaked, and it was an employee at Panera, and they had the mac and cheese that was in the dissolvable bag. Have you seen that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know.
I saw
It doesn't
that.
matter because the food is good. I don't care.
I feel like
Right,
at the
okay.
same time, a lot of the fast food restaurants are like that. I mean, it's
Yeah, of
fast food
course.
for a reason. You're not really taking a real.
Yeah,
I don't know. Five Guys, I think, might be the most genuine of
that's
maybe.
true.
Yeah.
I mean, McDonald's,
why I
they
put it
have
so high.
4 specific shapes for their nuggets. Those are not hand
Yeah.
prepared chicken nuggets. Those are factory made, and we all know it.
But okay, so let's say we were ignoring Panera because I think that's the best one here. What restaurant would you guys choose if you had to stay in it for a zombie apocalypse?
probably
Chick-fil-A.
Chipotle.
Aside from Panera,
Aside from Panera, ignoring Panera.
uh,
Yeah,
Chick-fil-A.
I'd say Chipotle.
Chipotle. What do you say, Caleb?
Chick-fil-A by far.
I would also
Gotcha.
say Chick-fil-A because it's the right combination of health and good food.
I feel like I don't know. I feel like I couldn't trust myself at a Chick-fil-A as much. I think I would say Five Guys, to be honest.
Well, it's not like you would run out of food because they also have stuff like grilled nuggets, and
Yeah.
they have a wide variety of stuff.
That's what I'm not worried about running out of food in any of these restaurants. I'm just worried about me eating too much of it compared to just eating the bare
yeah.
minimum to breakfast, lunch, dinner.
That's true.
Or whatever. I think I
Alright.
would pick Five Guys, actually, ignoring Panera.
That's a good choice too. That was probably my second choice, or Chipotle.
All right, and we're gonna move on to Alan's tier list. Would you like to
Alright.
explain yours?
Yes. So, a lot of people rank fast food restaurants, not like Raleigh did, just, based off of how good the food is. I think Raleigh took a creative approach, and I think I also took a slightly different approach to the fast food idea. And I'm ranking fictional restaurants based on whether I would eat there. So I've ranked them based on, so in F tier, we've got They Deserve to Be Shut Down. In D tier, we have I Would Not Eat There. In C tier, we have I Might Try It, which is basically just a normal restaurant. At B tier, we have I Would Eat There. And then at A tier, we have I Would Eat There regularly. So we'll start at the bottom. And They Deserve to Be Shut Down, I have the Cantina from Star Wars. That is just the sketchiest place ever. There's bad stuff going down there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Question: if the Star Wars Cantina was in a better neighborhood, would it be in a different spot?
If it was in a better neighborhood, would I go there?
Well, no,
Yeah.
we're not talking hypotheticals. We're talking about what it is, and what it is a sketchy place.
Yeah, and it doesn't even look like they serve like actual. It's like a bunch of alien, which I'd be up to
I mean,
try.
it's like a bar.
It is a bar.
Yeah, it's like a pub.
Which
pub
I mean, they
food
still
type
serve
of.
food.
That's what I was
Bro,
about to
you're
say. Like,
literally gonna get shot like this.
yeah, exactly. But that's the main reason I wouldn't go there is because I don't want to get shot.
Well, I think the people that go there know that it's shady, and I think they go there because it's shady for shady reasons and shady undergoings and
Well,
such.
we're not going there for shady underground.
Yeah.
reasons.
Okay,
We're
I'm
going
so
just going there
sorry.
to
Caleb. I'm so sorry.
All right. So next we have the chum bucket from SpongeBob. This just looks nasty. On every episode of SpongeBob I see where they show like the food in the chum bucket, it looks like they use organs and stuff. Like it does not. That's not healthy. That's not good.
Yeah, I
That
agree with that.
clearly violates health code violations and deserve to be shut down. Now this next one's an interesting one. And it says Papa's Pizzeria, but this applies to every Papa's game. Now, this is the only game on the restaurant on this list. And if you don't know, the Papa's games, basically you run a restaurant and you complete people's orders to try and get money. At the beginning of every single Papa's game, your character gets scammed into owning the restaurant. Like completely, it's not legal. Like they get baited online and stuff. Like that's totally not legal. And I honestly would not want to eat at a restaurant where like they never get your order. I've played plenty of the games. It's very hard to get the order.
This is where I would personally disagree. Just because I feel like your main implication there is that you don't like the owner, right? Like you're disgusted with the owner's actions, right?
Yes, that's my main point.
I feel like this is comparable though. Like I feel like that's passable because like plenty of restaurants have terrible owners. Like, would you still eat at Subway?
I mean, no, unless I'm like really hungry.
Okay, well that's fair. I mean, I don't like Subway much either, but you get the point. You get the point. I mean, but like also the food, I can see where it would be. I feel like it differs. I can see where it would be, awful. I don't want to eat there because a lot of the people who own these restaurants are going to be 6-year-olds going on Cool Meth games and undercooking burgers and putting 18 servings of ketchup on them. but at the same time, you also get the pro chef, like you got your professional Papa's Papa's players who are, serving up god tier stuff.
That's true, but do you really want to make that coin flip? Like, I don't know.
I feel like it depends on the restaurant, to be honest. Like, I don't know if I would trust like Papa's, Taco Mia, the taco one. Mm-hmm. But I feel like I could trust like what are some other ones?
One of the dessert ones, maybe.
Yeah, like maybe like the Papa's Scooperia or something like that. I feel like I could trust that.
That makes sense. So in the next column, or in the next restaurant, and they deserve to be shut down, is Krusty Burger. This one's probably the most tolerable since it's similar to like McDonald's, but there are a lot of episodes where Krusty reveals what he puts in the burgers, and it's not good. It's like kangaroo meat and stuff like that. So I would probably not eat there because I don't vibe with that.
I could agree with that.
And then the next column I would not eat there is Moe's Tavern from The Simpsons. It just seems like a normal bar. Like there are a lot of rats, but it's kind of sketchy like Mos Eisley, but not as much really. But I think probably the biggest reason I wouldn't eat there is because I'm underage and it seems like they only serve alcohol. So maybe if I was older I might move it up to like C, but as of now. So then the next we have Death Kwon Do subs from Regular Show. And this was kind of a hard one because, they make their sandwiches with Kung Fu. They make their sandwiches with Death Kwon Do, which is pretty badass, to be honest. But their owner makes the sandwiches with his shirt off. And he's like really hairy and kind of like, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't want that in the sandwich.
Huge mullet, and like he has no hairnet at all.
Right.
Yeah. So then the next one is the next tier is I Might Try It. And these are basically just pretty basic restaurants. Like, I would eat there, but I'm not gonna go out of my way to go eat there. So we have Cheezers from Regular Show, which is just a grilled cheese restaurant. Bob's Burgers from Bob's Burgers, which is just basically a burger restaurant. Like the burgers, they look fine, but you know, I don't know. And then Lard Lad Donuts from The Simpsons, which is just donuts. So yeah. So then moving on to I would eat there. We have Gusto's from
Wait a
Ratatouille.
minute. I want to touch on Cheezers because have you seen the
Okay.
way people react and like how large the line is for Cheezers like all the time? Like people be losing their minds for some Cheezers. And
True, but it's just a grilled cheese.
okay,
Like,
I mean you can say that, but like even something as simple as a grilled cheese can be made into something like really, really good. I
Okay.
think
that's a good point.
That's
I mean,
true.
it's
That's
just
true.
and when I looked at it, to me, Cheezers kind of reminds me of Subway's because it's a fast food restaurant that makes sandwiches. And yes, they're grilled cheese, but I don't know. It doesn't really change it too much for me.
yeah, okay, I understand that. Also, I'm not sure
But it's on the
Cheezers a
same level
chain?
as a restaurant like Bob's Burgers, which is like
Is
a local
Cheezers a
chain.
chain?
I'm assuming it's
Yeah,
a chain.
it looks like a chain.
I
it
don't
looks like
know
a
if it's a
chain, I
chain.
don't know.
It looks like a chain. Yeah.
It looks like a nice
It looks like
chain.
a McDonald's.
Yeah.
It does look like a nice chain, which is why I put it. I might try
Right,
it.
okay.
You know, it's just nothing special. So then up at the next tier, we have I would eat there. We have Gusto's from Ratatouille, which I'm not I don't eat a ton of French food, but that looked good. Like that food looked delicious, dude.
But here's where I would like to step in on that though.
Okay.
The main point of the movie was that the rats with the rats there. That's a
Okay.
clear health code violation.
Those
Even
rats
Bro,
made
the
some
rats
bomb
washed
fast food.
themselves. Did you not watch that part of the movie?
haven't
I
seen
did.
it
Go in
in
the
a while,
trash.
to be honest.
You
Those
found a
rats made
dumpster
that.
behind the
Those
building,
rats
you
made
remember
some
that?
bomb food though. Like, come on.
It looks good.
Okay,
However,
they make good food at the cost of what? At the cost of you getting some nasty disease.
Is it worth it though?
So let's say it was
That's good stuff.
cockroachatouille. All right, let's say it was cockroachatouille. Like it's a cockroach instead
Cockroaches can't cook, Raleigh.
of a rat. Nor can fucking rats. So let's say it was a cockroach, right? And it still washes itself. It still takes care of itself.
Remy didn't always work there, right? Like there was a period of time before the rats started working there.
Well,
Okay,
back
it was-
before the rats started working there, it was kind of like a mediocre restaurant. Like it only started getting clout because Master Chef Ratatouille started working there.
No, it started going downhill because Gusteau died. But before he died, he owned the restaurant.
I would eat there if it was the pre-rat era. Even if it was at a lower quality of food than when the rats are there cooking, I would still rather eat there when there's no rats making my food.
Okay, that's a fair
There
point.
would
That's a
be
fair
no
point.
point. It would just be like a mediocre French restaurant.
But it's a
want to
5-star
eat there. I
French
would want
restaurant.
to eat there specifically because the rats made the food.
That's
When
what I was
else-
saying at first.
When else in your life are you going to get to eat good food that rats made? Never.
That's
It's
kind-
a once in a
Eat
lifetime
food made by
experience.
rats.
That's kind of what I was trying to say when I put it in this category. But then y'all started bashing me for wanting to eat at a restaurant that was cooked by rats. So I don't
would
know.
eat there.
It could be argued that you would move it down, but I would eat there. I would definitely eat there. So then the next we have Los Pollos Hermanos from Breaking Bad. Now this could be argued that it could be in the I might try it category because it is just fast food. You know, it's just chicken. But I'm a sucker for fried chicken.
Okay.
So then the next we have Pizza Planet from Toy Story.
Mm.
And you know, like Los Pollos Hermanos, it's just a pizza restaurant. You know, it's just crappy pizza. But when Andy was in there and you could see the arcade, that looked fun. That's
See,
why I would.
I would compare that to a Chuck E. Cheese.
That's what I was gonna say. I feel like
because
That looked way better than a Chuck E. Cheese, dude. So, and then I would eat there regularly. I don't think this is any argument, but we have the Krusty Krab. This is the only one in this category, and I think it's well deserved because Mr. Krabs, I don't know what they put in there, but Mr. Krabs has got everyone in Bikini Bottom hooked on that stuff, and I would eat there. Like,
the secrets that crack cocaine.
I think that might be it, to be honest. But honestly, those burgers look good. Like, I don't really care.
I can agree with that. They always make it out to be like like the top restaurant there. And,
I mean, you remember when Squidward gets hooked on that
It's
and he
also
literally
like the
explodes?
only alternative to the chum bucket.
That we know
Where
of.
else are
that we
people gonna
know
eat?
of.
I'm assuming that Bikini Bottom, it's a city. They've got to have more restaurants, but everyone eats at the Krusty Krab. Everyone eats there. It doesn't even matter if there are other restaurants. Like, no one's going to go to them because the Krusty Krab is just so good.
Well, yeah, but a lack of competition doesn't necessarily mean it's a good restaurant. Like, just because people go there, like, that could be just because it's the only alternative to the chum bucket.
I see your point,
Perhaps.
but people in the show say that it's good. Like, SpongeBob loves the burgers.
Okay,
At
I'm
one
gonna be
point,
honest,
Squidward gets addicted to them.
I've never actually seen SpongeBob, but from what I've heard,
Excuse
Really?
me?
Dang.
it's
Not a big deal.
Yeah.
Wait,
Well-
let Caleb finish his point real quick.
Yeah.
I'm not really a burger fan in general, but they just, I don't know. They seem like some average burgers.
Clearly, there's some different tastes here in the list, but I think we're all okay with that. Miles was not able to make a tier list for this episode, so we won't be having him discuss his tier list today. But we'd like to thank you for listening in to the Birdy Boyz Podcast, episode 4. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. It's a big help. And once again, we're also going to try to get this podcast up on Spotify and SoundCloud very soon. So in all instances where we have items to discuss, we'll just make sure to describe it a lot. All right. Thank you for watching.